Ciao, darlings. Happy Tuesday. I think it's Tuesday. I wanted to do a quick little video, like the title of the video states, talking about respecting your elders. And I've put elders in quotation marks. Why did you put elders in quotation marks, Sarah? Because there are two different parallels that I want to really reference in this video, which is our soul and kind of our consciousness elders, as well as the human avatar, the human meat suit, those elders. We're living in a time and space where, like I've referenced before, we have multiple timelines, the splitting of universes, all different realities. You know, there is a very conservative type of a reality and then more of a free-spirited reality. And so when it comes to living in both of those realities, we have to be respectful for people's chosen universe. Definitely go watch my, what did I write? Navigating Separate Timelines, The Divide is Now Permanent. There's a lot of people that are living in a wildly different social reality than you are, a wildly different understanding of what respect is and what, self-respect, respect of human beings. But for myself, I know that I look younger than I am. I'm 36. I'm going to be 37 soon, but my soul is pretty ancient. And that when it comes to classy, classic respect, there's nothing better in this world. There's nothing better in this world, honest to goodness. It's like classy table setting, like holding the door open for someone. Like, I don't care if you're a female or a male. If you see a little lady walking around the bank, you hold the door for her. You hold the door for her. Her reaction is none of your business. You do that. You do that in my reality and in my perspective. But as I have mentioned before, the babies that are being born right now are some of the most ancient souls that I've ever seen. And they are my teachers. I learned telepathy through the eyes of young, there's a baby born in the world in your family right now. Doesn't matter who believes what, doesn't matter who believes anything, it doesn't matter what divide that there is. You look into that little one's eyes and you're like staring into a fire on the beach in the middle of August and you're just, everything's gonna be great. Everything's fine. Yeah, they're reminding you telepathically that they are there to solve the problems. We just have to let it all crumble and let some of our human elders pass on and choose to go in a different direction so that they can rebuild it. We don't have to worry about the world, honest to goodness. So for parents, for anyone who's kind of like thinking about having kiddos, but I've heard this numerous times in, a lot of my 3D jobs or just with clients where they're like, I worry about the reality that we're leaving for the kiddos. Oh, no. They are ancient souls. They're like, don't project your fears onto them. Bring them in. Bring them in. Honest to goodness, if you're thinking about having kiddos, bring them in. Bring them in. So astrological real right now. Yeah, check where Capricorn falls in your chart, because on the new moon, definitely if it's in the 5th house over here, 4th house, it's time to have some babies. Time to have some babies. But so when it comes to respecting, I'll speak from I statements. I'll go first. My elders, human elders, I do not care how disrespectful they are. I do not care if they are living in a different reality as me. I do not care how they are presenting themselves to the world. They are a soul inhabiting a human body, and they are worthy of respect, whether it be verbal respect, whether it be holding the door for them, or whether it be in thought. In thought. What do you mean by that, Sarah? How many times, if you are on, the more, I'll just give a parable. I've heard this so many times and it really grinds my gears where people are like, oh, I see someone driving alone in their car and they're wearing their mask on. Like, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? What's wrong with you that you would judge a person like that? Let them have their reality. That's their chosen reality. That makes them feel safe. And that is the way that they want to live their life. Who cares? Let them drive by. Maybe if you're concerned, if it's triggering to your human, maybe send them love. Maybe send them love and just say, hey, I hope you feel okay. Maybe you're scared. I send you light. I send you love. If religion is your language, say, God, please take over for this person. I don't want to be responsible for that person because it's triggering to my human avatar. So please, God, Jesus, take over. Take over and bless them with your light and go spend more time with them because they need you. They need you. We can go to the Buddhist mentality where you never pity someone. Truly, if you see someone that's living a life that is undesirable for your human, just say thank you for taking on that soul contract. Thank you, so I don't have to do it. Whatever is triggering for you, whether it be, I know when I had been living in Melbourne and then I came home and I moved back to the States, obesity was extremely difficult for my human to see. It was. I was at a diner one day and I saw a grandma, mom, and like a 7-year-old girl. I'll never forget this moment. And the small 7-year-old girl was very obese. Grandma was in like one of those like walking wheelchairs that you could kind of like sit down in. It had the little seat. And you know, mom was like a very, very tall and like stocky frame. Yes, but it was so jarring to me. I had spent over a year having never seen someone in that space before. And I was so triggered. And I was like, you're destroying this little girl's life. How dare you? How dare you? How dare, like I wanted to stand up and get involved. But now I look back and I forgive myself for those judgments. They weren't even concerned with me. They weren't even looking over at me. They weren't even thinking about me. I was not a part of their reality. Yet I'm weaseling myself into their reality, trying to preach. No, I just say, now when I look at that moment, I send myself grace. And I say, Sarah, like, look at your judgments. Look at your judgments. So I kind of got a little off track. That was me speaking from my statements. So whatever lens I am talking about for you, there were two basically main intentions, that if you are in an establishment, if you are in school, if you are in corporate and you are still in, 3D jobs, or you're navigating that and you feel as though you know so much more than the people around you, or you have these types of frustrations that you're experiencing, I need you to look at respecting your elders, which are the physical older people than you, and always find classic grace. It is free to be kind. It is effortless. It is effortless, and I don't care how they react. I do not care if you hold the door open for someone and they flip you off. I don't care. That's how you are treating yourself. What do you mean by that? When we think of our enemies, and this is a Bob Proctor language, an incredible, incredible mindset teacher when it comes to manifesting money. I couldn't recommend Bob Proctor higher. I'll leave the link for his page below. When you think of your enemies, everything is energy. We know this. When we think of our enemies, that thought has to hit you first. So I hate that person. I hate myself. I'm mad at that person. I'm mad at myself. That person's an a-hole. So when we think of our enemies, when we think of people that are being disrespectful and respecting our elders, or if we think that we're in front of someone who has a different reality and we have to kind of listen to them a little bit as we unwind ourselves and step into our sovereignty of entrepreneurship, North Node and Aries, think of them with grace. Think of them with grace. Say, oh, I respect you. I respect your opinion. Yeah, thank you for sharing. I appreciate you. Thank you. This is something I said many years ago, and just the image of that little soundbite is popping into my head, where that might be the first time in a long time that someone has actually respected them, thought positively of them, thought graciously of them in a really long time, So I will leave that there. And, to go back to speaking from I statements, maybe you might be a little bit younger. My content is not for children, but if you are still in school, if you're in an establishment in any sort of capacity where you have to listen to a teacher that does not have the same level of emotional intelligence that you do, does not have this kind, respectful language, does not have the spiritual language, does not have the awakening language, does not have any of these languages, but you're sitting there and you are to learn from them. What would the ideal student do? Take yourself out of the actual human experience. We are consciousness running these human avatars. We are not the human. So that's another entire story for another day. But view your situation from above. Yeah, that teacher is terrified. That teacher is having their own problems. They're having their own issues. They are in financial fear. They are projecting all of their parental issues onto you, their mother and father issues, whether it be, their ideology. And I can speak from I statements on this one. In 2020, I was they, them, fairy presenting. And the more I unpacked my father issues, my childhood sexualization, the more I stepped into my divine femininity. Like, I identify as consciousness. I cannot go to a plastic surgeon and say, can you please change my human body to be consciousness? No, I'm in a beautiful, divine, feminine avatar, and that is the choice that my soul made before coming in here. So however you feel inside is your own, but we came to this reality to be in a polarity-based reality. That's how my guide always says it, so I always use her accent. But we chose to come down to be male, female, this side, this side, this like the amalgamation of where you are in the world. It's all there. It's all there. I'm getting off topic. So if you're a student and you recognize that your teacher, you know more than them, it's possible. My 15, 14-year-old clients literally have solved the problems of the universe first thing in the morning, but what we work on is anxiety because they have to learn from people that don't know how to teach them. The system's crumbling. We know this. All this is happening, but show up. Play the game. View it from above. You have to play the role of student, then play the role of student and let your imagination run wild. We have to always remember when it comes to being a respectful being on this planet, every single person on this planet knows something that you don't. You also know something that nobody on this planet knows. I get that. But when it's time to listen. Be aware of it. And look at it in a nostalgic way. In the awakened world, there will not be as many establishments. It will be more, I need this education, I go to this person, I learn it, and then I go back out in my world. We know that these systems are crumbling. Pluto finishing up its transit in Capricorn. Truly. Pluto's been in Capricorn since 2008. What's been going on since 2008? Financial systems are crumbling. School systems are crumbling. Political systems are crumbling. Agricultural systems are crumbling. Debauchery all over the place is crumbling. Evil all over the place is being highlighted. Deepest transformation going into, my ears ringing on that one. Pluto, our deepest transformation, going into Aquarius, which is fixed air energy. Also, like the little glyph, is like electrical currents. Like, we're going to know. It's also about medical systems are crumbling. So many systems are crumbling. So look at it in a nostalgic way. Like, the song is popping into my head. As we go on, we remember all the time. That's like, think of everything like senior year. Think of it as like people won't be doing these things anymore. The babies being born nowadays, they are going to change the whole thing. They're not attached to karma. And if, as you're watching this, you have a very telepathic, very bright child, please reach out directly and we can book a one-on-one session. I'm here for you. That little bug keeps coming from my face at certain times where, like, I was telepathic when I was born. Like, I remember being in the womb, but I had to go through a lot of closing that intuition and that telepathy down when I was a child. I had a guide when I was 3 years old that taught me how to bubble myself, then went through some odd things so that at that time, I did not remember these things, but after awakening and processing, going back, I can now remember all those things. But it took unwinding, and it took processing, and it took unpacking some really gross stuff. So if you have a very telepathic kid, if you have a kid that maybe has been labeled that they don't fit into the system, if they have an imaginary friend that talks to them at all times, like my imaginary friend Jeffrey was with me when I was 3 years old, taught me how to bubble myself, like fully, but he was just labeled as my imaginary friend. He was always there with me. Also, one of the medical things that happens to me on a regular basis is that I got ear infections all the time. It was like a joke. So if that's happening to your child, or that's happening to you, please reach out directly. And it's my pleasure to be of service for you and to be helpful and to help you make sense of what's going on. There's nothing wrong with your child. They are just divine. Like, think of divine ancient Gandalfs running around with their old babies. Like seriously, like I've met babies at the grocery store that telepathically, all they're saying to me is, I'm embarrassed over the fact that I can't hold my head up and shake your hand. I'm like, you're literally a baby. Time and space is awkward. Just, remind your baby that they're loved. Remind their baby that you are there to protect them, and you will do that. There's so much that I want to say to you, my dear, dear people in this world. A lot of this is coming from the financial fear. A lot of this, I know that there are so many moms that want to be homeschooling right now, but they don't know where to start. They have to go to work. It's a mess. So we have to start somewhere. Start where we are, by respecting ourselves enough to treat the people around us with that same respect. And you'll start shining differently. Literally, you'll start shining differently. And focus on anxiety, definitely, and giving yourself maybe 60 seconds every morning before you have to go out into the world to remind yourself, I'm safe, I am grounded, I am sovereign, I'm not the thoughts of others. In no way. I'm not what people expect of me. All these different things. Very, very general brushstrokes that you can utilize. And have something in your pocket. Have a pocket stone. Have something that reminds you, like, I'm safe. This beautiful one over here is for rage. Yeah. Nice clear blue. So having some stuff around you to remind yourself that, like, I'm not being respected. Sometimes you hold the door for the little lady at the bank and then she snaps at you. I can get it myself. So, okay. Have a nice day. What questions do you have for me? Please comment those below. If you don't feel comfortable, then please send me an email directly and you can ask your questions there. It's always a pleasure to be of service, and I offer a free 15-minute consultation for anyone who's interested to see if I'm the person that can be helpful for you and what it is that you're going through. So please ask a question. We can set up a call, and I'm here. You're not alone. In no way. Usually what happens when I come to be in your life is that you've been repeating the same patterns over and over again. You did what you were told to do, either by your parents or by an establishment, and you got married even though you're miserable. You had the kids even though you didn't want them, and you got the job even though you wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, and you did the things. And then my little tent pops up, my little face over here that's just waving at you across time and space. And it's like, hey, you didn't really do irreparable damage. I got you. It's just kind of tough to really unwind and unpack the fact that you knew a long time ago that you were making some negative decisions. Yeah. Oh, I've been there. My first ex-fiance, I literally bought a house with him even though I was not in love with him, because I was doing unconsciously what everyone around us told us we were supposed to be doing. We've been together for this long. You move in together. We've been rented for this long. You buy the house together. You say yes when they get down on one knee, even though you're really not interested in them. So I've been there. So I'm not saying any of this from a preaching and a teaching aspect. I've literally, as a mystic, I went down these rabbit holes. I went down these, lions and tigers and bears portion of my life. And I went there, did the thing to come back to tell you, if you're picking up on that vibration, that's what's going on. I think that's it. I appreciate you so much. Please share this video with somebody that you think that might be going through something similar, where they're having trouble respecting their boss, their 3D boss. They're having trouble respecting their teachers. I have a lot of people that I know that are in establishments, whether they've gone back to school for a master's program, and they're looking at the fact that the cape has been ripped off of these people that they've really put on pedestals. So even though you've recognized that you've kind of woken up to the fact that this is a stage and we're all playing a part, but they don't know that. So yeah, stepping into your sovereignty means treating yourself with enough respect that you treat the people around you with enough respect. But at a certain point, you will have to leave that room that you're in. I'll just leave that there. I love you so much. You're doing an incredible job. I'm so proud of you. I'll see you next time. All right, ciao, ciao.